We're shooting into a video today about the major secret that I learned about the proper state of being for a human being, including having endless motivation, that I got from years and years of going out and working on my dating life. And these are secrets that are going to be very outlandish, very weird, very out there. And what I believe is that there's a very powerful seed of truth in what it is that I'm going to share, and it's honestly taken me 2 decades to figure this out. Okay, so the major thing that fascinates me about motivation is not the fact that you make more cash, even though every human being in the world loves cash. You need cash to raise kids, you need cash to travel out here to Mount Shasta, you need cash to travel the world, you need cash to go take a live event, you need cash to get organic food. I love cash, but what I love more than cash, and what I love more than social success, is the state of being that you jump into in the process of getting after it. It's the state of being that is the high, that abides inside of you permanently. So you want to think of it like a shark in water that would die when it stops moving. The shark shouldn't think, oh, I just get the next meal and then I sit there and just float and burp and fart, even though a moment of that could be okay. Rather, it's the joy of being a shark. It's the joy. I mean, I'm not, a big fan of, maybe I like more of the, the blue whale or the dolphin, but we'll just go with it. So, it's the fun of being the shark in the ocean, moving around the ocean freely, being the shark, being the dolphin, being the blue whale. It's the joy of being that, as opposed to just getting something and then stopping. Okay? And so I learned this from years and years of going out and working on social skills. And I'm going to tell you how. It's sort of a bizarre secret that it is that I figured out. When I'm talking to somebody and looking to create attraction, what I found was, I'm not the tallest guy. I'm not the best looking guy. Even though I've had a lot of financial success in my life, I'm not the richest guy. They always know richer guys. But there's a certain element that I know how to tap into that I found has given me incredible success. And it's sort of this idea that you're tapped into this sort of flow state where you need nothing and you're kind of just lightly floating through life. And as you do, you are disburdened from all the heaviness that most people have. And as a result, you're able to engage in this incredible lateral thinking. So maybe I go meet somebody who I'm attracted to. And the way that I think about it, this is a little bit weird what I'm going to say, I view it like the person that I'm attracted to, and this is very weird what I'm going to say, they are the microcosm of the universe. They're the microcosm of the world. So they are the receivers and I am the giver. Okay, so they take in the energy of the world, but in my mind, I am the giver of energy in the world, right? That's that phallic symbol, that idea that, you shoot out, you shoot life out. You're not looking to take in anything. Rather, it comes from you. You are the source and you shoot it out. They receive all those different energies. And as they receive those different energies, they respond to you like a microcosm of the world. So the world will respond to you with chaos. The world will respond to you with challenge. The world is going to test you. And in the same way, the person who you're gonna feel attracted to, they may test you. They may respond with chaos. They may, initially not see your value and so on and so forth, right? And the way that I always kind of flew through those tests, like a knife going through warm butter in a beautiful way that was attractive and win-win for both, was this sort of idea of lateral thinking. And what the lateral thinking, what it required was for me not to be needing validation from them. But what does that mean? They are the microcosm for the world. Right? So a lot of people get angry at the chaos and the testing and the way they respond and behave. I don't. I view them as a microcosm of the world. So what it's doing is it's giving me an incentive that if I stay in this sort of disburdened state, almost like Captain Jack Sparrow, even though that's sort of a Disney fictional representation of it, right? But how he would kind of just glide through the world of these different challenges. I would be, this kind of shy younger man in a bar or club, feeling terrorized by the social interaction. And if I could just stay in this very loose state, what would happen is my mind would stay so loose that I would quickly find all of these different solutions. So, it's like, some kind of test, like, you're a jerk or you're crazy or, things like that. And, do you say this to everyone or, whatever it would be? And you just stay so loose that it's like you're wide open and the solutions are just coming to you in real time. and it's this crazy high that you get off of it. And this was the thrill of going out. It wasn't like I went out for years and years and years just because I felt empty inside, and then by going out and getting validated, then I knew who I am. Although I've had periods like that, and I can tell you it's like a nightmare. It's like a living hell. You know, that kind of up and down is the worst feeling in the world. Rather, it's the feeling of being the dolphin in the ocean. It's that feeling of being in the bar and seeing somebody who you like, and, you know, they kind of play with you, they kind of test you, you know, their emotions go up and down, there's sort of a dance that's there, and the only way that you can engage in that dance is by staying very, very loose, and the responses just keep coming to you. The exact pause, that vacuum that you'd create, that exact look, this sort of feeling in your body where you self-generate your own emotion, not needing validation at all, and it just sort of goes like this, and then your pupil just goes like that, and you feel the energy go, you know, and it's this great, great feeling, and it becomes an addiction because you feel so good re-engaging with that state. And so the act of going out provides an incentive for you to re-engage in that state. And what is that state? Let's be clear about what that state is. That state for me is the state that is representative of our natural birthright. It's a natural gift that we have. But in society, what winds up happening is we wind up getting to a point where we get so contracted into our egos because society and consumer culture encourages us to be stuck inside of ego. We get stuck inside of fear. We get stuck inside of us versus them. We get stuck inside of scarcity. We get stuck inside of a derp state where all that we can do for energy is to chase stimulus. So we're completely whacked out. You know, we're whacked off of our faces because of all the processed food and all the weird media and all the stimulus pumping social media that we're looking at, and the school system, and the whole system is designed to grease the skids of laziness and selfishness and derping. And we get in that and we lose that natural state. So the way that you think about it is in the same way that maybe you go out to a bar and in your most natural state, you become like almost like this weird wizard type character. Not a wizard, but it's like a wizard type character where you see the whole bar and it's like your energy level is one level above everybody at the bar or club that you went to, or daytime social gathering, wherever you went. Your energy level is a step above. And it's a step above, and you're completely rooted in your own good energy. And people are always chasing the person who needs less validation, who's less needy, who is more self-entertained, who is more naturally at a higher energy level. So when I was starting going out, I would go out all needy and scared and in my social conditioning and needing stimulus. And then if people were nice to me, then my state would go up. Then my validation would go up. But then later, if they tested me and they withdrew, or maybe they went and talked to somebody else, my state went down. And what I found was this was an immediate slap on the wrist, like, hey, pain, pain, pain. Because every time that I lost my connection to my higher power and my flow, my, you know, Captain Jack Sparrow, which is sort of a silly rendition of it, then I would get punished. You know, I'd see the person I'm talking to run off with somebody else. Or I would see the person who I'm talking to disengage. Or maybe the person I'm talking to thought I was weird. But if I just stayed in that flow, maybe they disengaged a bit, I didn't care, I'd go talk to other people. Then when I saw them, it was like the perfect line would just come out. And it would usually be, you know, more on top of a mountain, you're a little windy. It might be a little bit playful. It might be a little bit coquettish. Maybe I would draw a little bit to, you know, to kind of give the space for them to step in. Maybe be hilarious. Maybe be outlandish. Maybe be just something calm and chill. Maybe it was something very present. Maybe I said nothing at all. But whenever I was in that zone, it was never short of freaking perfection. That is what I love about it. It's like, stand-up comedians do this. I mean, it's not some magic, right? I mean, I put out years and years of footage of this, but you can see it with a great stand-up comedian. You know, like someone kind of heckles them or teases them, and they just stay in that pocket that the stand-up comedian loves, that they're addicted to. It's why they're doing stand-up comedy. And then, they, you know, maybe they just give a little look, you know, maybe they just raise an eyebrow. Maybe they just lay down the sledgehammer, boom, you know, something crazy, and the crowd explodes laughing. But it's that natural flow state that brings the joy to life. And what I believe is, and I think about this all the time, and some people kind of clown this, but I'm sorry, I just believe it. We aren't meant to be like what you see on the street, right? Like the average derping person, that's not what we're meant to be. If you look at where historically they think we came from, and you know there's different competing theories on this, but a common theory that's probably the most common, I think, is that we came from South Africa. Again, competing theories. And we came all the way up, I believe it was Eastern Africa, into Europe, down into Australia, down into Asia, into North America. I believe we crossed the Bering Straits. Are you telling me that the way we are naturally now, that's who made it? That's how we've been for millions and millions of years. I get it that the food supply has changed, the exercise has changed. You know, we're out of our natural state. I get that. But we can re-engage with that state. So the way that I imagine our ideal state is almost like in a hilarious way of putting it, almost like a wizard, where you want $1 million, you got it. Okay, you want to meet everybody in the bar club and the person who you like the most, you got it. You want to go make friends with somebody who you perceive as higher status than you, to network and make great connections so they can maybe broaden your horizon or both of your horizons with all the cool synergy you make, you got it. You want to go drive around the country, you got it. You want to go be a top public speaker, you got it. You want to go build a social media channel, you got it. Whatever you want to do, you got it. Easy, 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 easy. Effortless, 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 effortless. And none of this crap that most people say about, oh, you got what you wanted, you became complacent. Oh, you loved yourself, you became complacent. Oh, you became spiritually tapped in, you became complacent. I don't believe that's our natural state at all. Not even 1%. That's not who we are. We are action takers at our core. We have that endless motivation at our core. We want to accomplish, we want to achieve, we want to be in a flow state. But again, what society does is it gets us in this ego mode where we feel threatened. And then in that case, the only people who can win, they're the people who just win at every level of ego, as long as things are going well. But then they constantly need all their ducks in a row. Maybe they need alcohol. Maybe they use prostitutes. Like a lot of the most successful people I know, they hook up with prostitutes, they use alcohol, because they always need to have all their ducks in a row to kind of be in the pocket that I'm talking about here, right? Like that's the kind of Captain Jack Sparrow idea. It's that idea of being in the pocket. So to me, the idea of endless motivation is the idea of being in the pocket. And no matter what comes at you, it's not a big deal. You know, you should use protection, but let's say somebody you hooked up with got pregnant. You don't panic and say, oh, I can't handle it. What am I going to do? It's like, oh, children, amazing. Let's go out on adventures together. Like how you see me out on adventures with my kids. Maybe you get a really nasty disruption in your business because you believe in truth and beauty, and you know there's an opposing force to that cuts you out of context. Cool. You just keep rolling. Maybe other people get scared and leave. You just keep going. Maybe you have challenges of, you know, you get a little bit unhealthy and you're stressed. Oh no, wait. Just eat the right foods. Just get the best sleep. Just relax. Just infuse the positive energy. Just start laughing. Cut out the crap. Do the right things. Your body is being infused with positivity, all the right things. Done. Not for sure. I'm not a medical advisor. I'm not giving you medical advice. But that's how I would personally do it anecdotally myself, and I've been on a great run with that. So this is sort of how I think about who we really are. When I talk about endless motivation, I'm talking about tapping into that flow where you don't get tired, where you get energized from work. But see, part of this is not resonating with the system itself, not resonating with a lot of this dark stuff that you see. In other words, you're going to have people and the system that is constantly trying to work you out of that flow. And so, you know, maybe there's somebody who you're dating, and I'm going to use relationships a lot in the coming videos, which I've already shot, about, you know, as an analogy to where maybe you're in that flow and then you get into that relationship. But over time, you find yourself self-qualifying. You find yourself self-justifying. You find yourself taking on the other person's trauma. You find yourself scrambling to please them. But is that really what they want? I've had it so many times where I have a great relationship to start because I've been in that flow from being single. Then I get into a relationship and I start slipping out of that dynamic. Then I start slipping out of my flow. Then I start messing up my business. Then everything starts coming down around my face. I've seen this for years and years. Happen to so many of my students who I've worked with, happen to many, many of my friends. But what is it that people really want? Even when people give you a logical question and they're like, justify yourself. Do they really want you to justify yourself? Or do they want to test you to see if you'll stay in that flow? You see this? And as the world is testing you, it's testing you to see if you'll stay in that flow. Subjectively, these are my subjective beliefs, I believe this is the cultivation of your spirit, connecting to yourself at a core essence. I believe this is the most important job that anybody could do. I believe that this experience is meant to prepare us for something beyond the veil, beyond just this world. That's my belief, but that doesn't have to be your belief to learn from what I'm saying. You might just view what I'm saying as different neurochemicals going in the brain and tapping into what your body's naturally meant to do. is the way to think about it. And I'm not perfect with this, and you're not going to be either. Rather, what it is that as you're getting older, this is an opportunity for you to tap in and tap in and tap in and tap in and to be tested. So you'll hear this now, and you'll be like, I get it, I get it, I get it. And you'll start doing it. And you'll go out to the club tonight and smash it. You'll be like, this isn't real life. How is this real life? You'll be in a zone like this and you'll think of a multi-million-dollar business idea. You'll go execute on effortlessly and work at the level of 10 different people and think, how is this real life? You'll see other people in a negative mood and you don't get in a negative mood. You don't get infected with fear. You remember that movie, Apocalypto, when the father says to the son, don't bring the fear back in the village. And he actually wound up dying. But ask yourself, is it worth living a life in a state of fear? Now, by the way, good counterexample in that movie, you should definitely assess risk. So it's not mutually exclusive to stay in this kind of state and learn about the risks that are out there. Should you consume this? Should you engage with these kind of behaviors? Should you be reckless? Should you go into Montana hiking without bear spray and not knowing the difference between a black bear and a grizzly bear and how to act if a bear comes up on you? Of course you should be safe. But so what I think a lot of people do is they try to achieve this exact state by getting their ducks in a row and by ignoring reality. So it's like, everyone sucks but me, any kind of liability doesn't exist, I'm gonna just ignore reality, I'm not gonna be safe. In order to preserve this state, people do that to preserve this state. They deny reality, cut other people down, drugs, alcohol, cigars, booze, all this, just keeping themselves in the pocket at all costs. You don't need your ducks to just all be in a row. You don't need, a permanent state of that kind of feedback. In order for you to stay in the state, you can tap into it. And it's beautiful when you do. So this is what we're gonna be going into. And I wanna start cutting into this over the next several months. Because this was really the primary epiphany that I got from going out, okay? Going out for me wasn't just about getting results as far as the stimulation of being physically intimate with new people. That's fun. I've had many adventures. I've had a very adventurous dating life. It's been beautiful. But for me, what I found was that is an important goal in and of itself that you should get, but it's like a low paradigm, but very worthwhile and real motivator to then go knock that down and smash it, but then realize, wait, there's other things that I'm learning here. There's other levels to this whole game. That was just me at a low paradigm thinking, money or dating or whatever is going to satisfy me. But what you realize in the process of this, if you do it the right way, is that you learn to access a greater state of flow. What happens is that the person that you're attracted to is a microcosm for the world. They will hit you with that chaos. And it's so beautiful what you learn in the process because you also get in relationships. And even for me, as I've gotten into my 40s, I've had it to where I have a beautiful relationship. And what winds up happening is I go into it in the super flow state because I've been single and I've been in my zone. And then the trauma hits me a little bit. And then the self-qualification hits me a bit. Baby, I'm unhappy. No, our baby, I love you. Are you really happy? No, you just failed. Failed. But what if you love the person? Failed. It was a test. What they wanted to see was them in that crying state, that you could stay in flow. But it doesn't mean that you have to ignore what they're saying and diss them. Rather, it's you go, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm bad. Right? You joke. Like you verbally say what wants to be said, what wants to be heard, but you don't leave that flow state. You see this? And so the act of going out to bars and clubs and daytime social gatherings and meeting people and creating attraction, you're engaging with a microcosm of the world. And then it trains you on how to build that multi-million-dollar company. It trains you on how to get present to the moment. It trains you on how to find your intuitive purpose and why you're alive. It trains you on how to be spiritually tapped in, or what you might just call in the zone, whatever you want to call it for you. It trains you on these things. And it's the beauty of being at that bar. And you meet someone, you like them, and then their friend comes and says, we gotta go, right? And then you have that perfect line. And it's just and the key to it is this. It's that you want something so much because and when you really like someone, you feel very into someone, you really, really like them. And then, maybe they hit you with the test, like they don't like you or they diss you or their friend jumps in or they've got to go whatever. And what you've done is you've stayed in this open state. So you're not erotically connected to ego. You're not erotically connected to they like me. You're not erotically connected to money. You're not connected to validation, right? Rather you're open to and it's cheesy to say. I don't even believe I'm saying this. Right? Asked me this 2 decades ago. I would tell you I'd never say this, but it's what I learned. You're connected to the energy of the universe. You're connected to that state of flow. You get, and it's weird, when you get like this, you get addicted to being in the outdoors. The outdoors energizes you, the wind energizes you, the air energizes you, the sun energizes you, laughter energizes you, new life, children energizes you. Love and laughter and joy and expansion. Other people winning energizes you. People doing better than you energizes you because everybody's on their own journey and that's real. It becomes beautiful, okay? So this is the transformation that gets made from a lot of the content that I taught in my 20s. But see, for me, when I think about this idea of endless motivation, what I love about my old content and my original content is that it was very, very action oriented. So in other words, there would be different groups in every city that would get together, look at what I'm doing, and then they would go out and replicate that. And so, you know, you could look at what I'm doing, you could go out, you could replicate it, and there was direct measurable results. But see, what I think is a beautiful direct measurable result is, you know, the kind of things that you've seen me doing in these videos. Being out in the world, living in a cool crib, having cool relationships with different people, having fun, laughing, doing your craft, taking in the energy of life. The future of what I would love to achieve, and I want to start this now, would be still seeing people getting together. And, you know, that could be, I'm going to release a program about this. I'll talk about that in a sec. That could be in different groups, which I'm going to start back up soon. But it's in saying to yourself, what do you really want out of life? And not just how do you go get it while making yourself freaking miserable, but how do you go get that while both increasing the breadth of what it is that you want out of life and whatever life and real living is to you, but also increasing the depth. I don't want to just see somebody, you know, travel the country the way that I like to and post a bunch of Instagram photos like they're miserable the whole time. Although as a learning curve, that could be okay if you're learning, but as a long-term goal, not miserable the whole entire time. I don't want to just see somebody, you know, build a multi-million-dollar business and say it was a living nightmare. But my version of growth is, okay, I've had some ups, I've had some downs, I've had failures, but more and more I'm learning to stay in that pocket of joy. So maybe you're running a business and then things go bad and you get terrorized from it, you get scared from it. I've had this a lot, I've been miserable. But what it does is you in these situations, you can get bitter or better. And so what happens is that if you get bitter, then you allow yourself to go more into ego, more disconnected, more contracted, and rather than staying tapped in that, you know, Jack Sparrow flow, as we're kind of very, very loosely calling it, he's just a Disney character, you know, but rather than staying there, you go, I need it, yeah, I need it, you know, and it's real. Running a business and coming up short, these are real problems. There's a lot of real problems that happen in life, tons of them, that are very, very, very real. But when you think about it, you can take it as, you know, a bad thing, but conversely, you can actually take that as an opportunity to ground yourself deeper in that state of flow. That is a real opportunity to do that. And so you're like a meditator who's able to stay present for longer and longer and longer. You are able to stay present for a longer period of time. You're able to stay present under more pressure. Look, I'm not perfect with this. I'm on my journey. I'm 42 now. And every year I got a lot stronger with this. But every year I mess up. Every year I find myself getting negative, you know, getting sucked in, messing up relationships, messing up attraction. And then I say to myself, why did this happen? Oh, I got baby stepped out of my joy. I got baby stepped out of my flow. I was in that relationship with somebody who loved me and I started self-qualifying and then I took on their trauma. But also, to be honest, maybe I didn't get out soon enough. Maybe they're just going to kind of be like that permanently and I shouldn't be there in the first place. Well, okay, in that case, I stayed in too long. I didn't prioritize my greater joy. It's always a learning lesson that you're going through. And that is what I want to start seeing is I want you to start to imagine what your great life looks like, what your contribution and legacy would look like, but what it would mean to be energized and effortlessly move through life. And so we've got to start to break down a larger matrix here. Everything from looking at behaviors and habits that you have and how that's bleeding into this and taking you in or out of this, different relationships and how they're affecting you. We're going to go in a tremendously deep dive in relationships and how you can take on other people's trauma and people that are adding to this state or taking away from it, and so on and so forth. We're going to go very, very deep on that. We're going to go into looking at your whys and your different motivations, higher self-motivations, day-to-day self-motivations, lower self-motivations. We're going to start looking at the chain of all the different things that are happening in your life and what is feeding into this and what is taking away from it. If you resonate with this content, I am going to start cranking this out, and we're going to be going very, very deep on this. But let me tell you, if you want to get in this early, because I'm going to be releasing a program on this probably in about a month, but if you want to get in early, click the link below now. And I'm going to start doing some phone calls on this, and I'm going to start putting out some master classes on this and how to get connected to that flow state regarding money, regarding relationships and attraction, regarding inner game, and we're going to start talking about the different elements of those. I'm also going to release immediately the very first version of Endless Motivation, which I released privately over email. And it was funny, I made that one program and we just released it over email. It was a short program and it exploded over email. We just sent out a couple emails and this thing blew up really just off our email list. We never even released this on social media. And I'm gonna be releasing Endless Motivation 2.0 that is gonna have so much more in it. But I'm starting these phone calls now and getting out the original one now and getting the masterclass out now. And this is going to be a much, much better version if you get in right now. So if you know that you're sold on this and you just want it now and you want to start immediately and this entices you, click the link below now and we're going to get into it. If you find this link later, go for it and try your luck. But if you want to start now, let's go now. You're going to be seeing a ton of content coming out. I've already shot, I got about 20 videos on this already shot, and I'm going to go very, very deep in each of these areas. Like even the first area that we're going to go very, very deep on is something called would versus could, and we're going to be going very, very deep on the personal relationships that surround you, how they traumatize you, how they distract you, how they take you out of flow, how you start making small little inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter compromises. And it's weird because I feel like a lot of people intuitively have a sense of this, and yet I feel like it's not broken down at a granular level. And I feel that the best ideas and businesses and accomplishments and the most beautiful lives wind up buried in the graveyard with people who stay in bad relationships, people who allow slippage in the dynamic of what's going on with them, people who don't recognize the difference of their potential versus what they're actually going to do, people who don't learn how to drive their own personal car of their mind. So the way that I envision you is somebody locked in that state of flow, killing it, crushing it, loving life, in a state of depth and breadth, like a magician. What you want, what you want, what you want. And this isn't me saying, oh, there's some secret trick while you get to stay in your ego and you get to stay contracted and then you just instantly get all this stuff or anything like that. Rather, what I'm referring to here is something that you've intuitively done. When I was 17 years old, I met a girl named Natalie at a party. I was a virgin. And for about half an hour or whatever it was, I can't quite remember, I was in the zone. You know, we never hooked up, but I was in the zone. And it's weird. If I were to look at my life now, that 1/2 hour versus me at my peak now isn't tremendously different. I have more depth with it. It's more rooted in me. It's more matured in me, ripened in me. But it really wasn't that different than me at 17. But me at 17, what happened was I felt that for the first time in my life. What it felt like to be effortless, what it felt like to just know what to do. What that felt like. But then I lost it for a couple of years, right? And then I later found it in my early 20s, but it would kind of come and go, come and go, come and go. And it was this thing where whenever I'd even start to get results, I'd crave it and get attached to it. How do I stay in this vibe? How do I stay in this flow? Over time, I learned many, many different mechanisms to stay in that high motivation state, that high level flow state, and that state, here's the most important, where when you're relaxed, you're in a state of lateral thinking and the solution comes to you. You get tested in life, and the solution just keeps coming. That's our birthright. That is who made it out in this entire journey of humanity. And I want to go very, very deep on this and getting to your goal. So if you resonate with this now, click the link below right now and let's get started today. And we're also going to be going very, very deep. But just remember that flow, that lateral thinking, that birthright. And I'm excited to do more. Anyway, I'm on a completely torn ACL from skiing this winter, and I hiked all the way up this mountain, and I'm going to be hiking all the way back down right now before the sun goes down, and it's been a joy to do it. I'm going to go do that now. I'll be back with more soon. Peace.